Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is Paul, and God has qualified me to be your hip hop relationship and recovery coach. And I'm bringing to you another Kick Your Butt Out episode. As usual, before I go off into the content of the day, I have to say what I always say, and I strongly encourage you to get this into your thought process, right? So that you can incorporate this into your lives. And that is, if you're looking for a butt, it's going to always be easy to find one. And that, my friends, is a promise. All right. Let's get off into what we're going to be having some discussion and conversation about today. It has, first of all, it's an honor and a pleasure to be used to do these things because the excuses and the reasons and the justifications that we put in our way is always something that's minute, petty, and something that can be dealt with, overcome, or removed real easy. We just make it big. How do I know? How do I know this? Because many times in my life I've done it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm qualified to be able to talk about what I should, I could, I would, but and all of those kind of things. I'm qualified because many times in my life the butt has gotten in my way. However, thank God that I'm in a place and in a position where I'm kicking my butt out. So I want to help you do the same thing with your life as well. Which brings me to what we're going to talk about today. So let me give you a few scenarios. First and foremost, the Bible says the battle is not yours, it's the Lord's, right? 100% true. But many of us in many situations lean on that too much and won't do nothing. TD said it like this. He said we need to stop. He said we need to stop praying and asking God for couches and beds and tables and chairs and all that, because God doesn't make those things. He makes the tree, and He gives you the ability to make all of the things that can be made out of a tree. Why did I say that? I said that to say this. Some fights God has given you the power to do. Some of these battles that you won't fight, that you won't stand up against, that you won't war against or war in, God has given us the ability to fight some of those things. Some is His, right? But some is ours too. And the problem with us is that we've gotten too comfortable with not fighting back. And that's why I decided to title today's episode of Kick Your Butt Out, but you won't fight back. All right. So when I'm talking about but you won't fight back, it made me remember when we were young, back home in Chicago. We had a couple of and many of you all can relate to what I'm talking about. We had a few unspoken rules. You didn't have to talk about it. You just knew that this was a rule. And there were two that I'm going to mention today. One of them was, so say for instance, if you and I were together, right, and somebody was picking on you or bothering with you, and you fought back, but you were still getting beat up, we would help you. We would jump in and help because you were fighting back. If you fought that person and you won on your own, obviously you didn't need our help. So good, that's another one. But if someone was picking on you and you didn't fight back, you were on your own. You were on your own. We wouldn't help you. If somebody's picking on you and you wouldn't fight back. You were on your own. Another one of those unspoken rules that we had when we were kids was, if you and I had a fight and you beat me up or I beat you up, the unspoken rule was you had to fight me every time you saw me until I won at least once, and vice versa. And those were two unspoken rules that we had and lived by when we were young. The thing about it today is some of these fights that we are in, you have the ability to fight back, but we lay there and just get all beat up. Some of these fights, we'll lose the battle once and won't even try to fight again to win. And the thing about it is, there's a perspective that has to be had in our mindsets. And one of the perspectives that I fight from, somebody had taught it to me. They said, don't fight for victory, fight from victory. So in my mind and in my spirit, as I'm fighting, I already won. The Bible tells us that, right? But again, many of us don't even believe it to the standpoint of we'll get beat up and won't fight back. And I'm going to talk about some instances where, and these are some simple things, right? Some simple situations or some simple fights that we can win and we lose because we won't fight back. So obviously you all know how I am. I'm going to start from the top, talking about God. And again, I'm not even going to go deep. I'm going to go simple and let you understand and help us to understand that if we don't fight the simple fights, right? If we don't fight back in the simple fights from a victorious standpoint, we don't have a snowball chance in hell of winning the bigger ones. That's one of the reasons why I want to have some conversations about, but we won't fight back so that we can learn how to start to fight back and win these little battles or these simple battles so that we can start to have victory over the challenging ones, the ones that we really get stomped and beat and kicked and slapped and bit and scratched and whatever over. And we always on our, many of us, again, how do I know this? How can I say this? Because there's been many times where I'm on my knees praying and crying, God, help, stop this, do this, that, and the other. And God is sitting there saying, well, son, I already gave you power to do it. This is one for you. You know, Maverick City, Chandler Moore talks about, he has a song that says, that the title of the song is God Problems. He knows which problems are God's or which fights or which battles are God's. And he knows which ones that he has the power to win. You ought to check the song out. It's called God Problems by Chandler Moore and Maverick City. All right. So with that being said, again, I'm going to talk about the simple things that we allow ourselves to get beat up over. First, some simple as praying. Some simple as praying. And I'm talking about all of us who worship, believe in, or say we have a relationship with God. Praying. We'll set a time for prayer, right? In many situations, we'll have a time of the day that we set aside for prayer. And we'll get that thing going, right? Get some consistency going. And then we'll allow the smallest or the simplest thing to stop us from praying. That I'll pray later. And then it gets later and later and later. Then it gets to a place where we stop praying. And somebody said it to me like this once before. They said, they said it like this. If you are looking to find time, it'll never happen. You have to make it. And one of the simplest things that we have to do is make it a priority that nothing can stop and nothing can stand in and nothing can get in the way of. And that's something as simple as prayer. If you've set a prayer time of the day, don't let nothing beat you out of it. Do not let anything beat you out of it. Whatever's going on, that's one of the things that I like about the Muslims, Islam. They have 5 times in the day that they pray, and I don't care what's going on. I don't care what's going on. They're on their knees praying at those given times a day. Many of us as Christians, again, we'll get beat out of the prayer and won't even fight back. And what I mean by fighting back is just being more intentional about making sure that I'm going to get on my knees and pray at this time of the day, no matter what or no matter where I'm at. This has to happen. So again, that's something simple, right? And I want to talk. And the reason why I'm using the simple things because, like I said, if we can get victorious over these simple things, we'll have a chance with the bigger, right? God said, if I can trust you with a few things, I'll make you rulers over many. And one of the reasons why we can't be trusted with the many things or rulers over the many is because something as simple as praying, we can't even be consistent about it. Excuse me. So again, we have to fight back, right? The second thing that I'm gonna talk about, we're gonna go to spouses. Many of us out there have spouses, and we when we get past the honeymoon stages of these relationships, right? Watch this. Before and during the honeymoon stages of our relationships, meaning when the fireworks is going off and everything is blissful, and you love the way she smiles and he loves the way you chew your food, and when all of these things is going on, we doing everything in our power to make sure that we keep that thing going, that we be as involved in it as much as we possibly can. We do all of these wonderful things, but once the honeymoon stage is over, once the fireworks start to die down, we get to a place where we start to take our spouses for granted, and we'll start by, in a lot of cases, we used to be together this much time in a day or this much time in a week. And then that thing starts to get smaller and smaller. That time and intentionality around spending time together and being with one another and all of these wonderful things that goes along with helping the relationship to stay strong, we start to take those things for granted. And in many cases, she ain't going anywhere, or she's not going anywhere. We're going to be together forever. And then we look up, because of this little thing that we could have been more intentional about making sure it happens. We look up, and now you realize that y'all roommates now, or you all on opposite sides of the house, or you all on opposite sides of agreement, or you all are on opposite sides of vision, or whatever the case may be. And you don't have a snowball chance, like I said, of being able to overcome those things or battle against those things on a victorious standpoint, because you haven't even fought back with the small things. So what am I saying? When it comes to your spouse, don't take them for granted. Don't think that all you need is love and everything is going to always be okay and they're going to always be there. It takes a whole lot more that we have to do to make sure that our marriages and our relationships with our spouses stay together. And one of the first things, again, be more intentional about spending time together. And when you're together, watch this. As you being more intentional about spending time together, make sure that you make some of that time dedicated and committed towards praying together. They used to, when we were younger, they used to have these little wooden plaques that went around. One that used to be on the walls of people's houses, kitchens, living rooms, you name it. And it says the family that prays together stays together. That's the same thing with relationships. The relationships that pray together is the ones that stay together. So get the little things going. And again, stop taking your spouse for granted, just knowing that because you all love one another and y'all married, that they're going to always be there. The Bible says man must not be alone. What that means is we were created with a spirit of having a need for connection. And so that means that we have to connect with our spouses. First, connected with God, then connected with our spouses. So please, people, again, like I said, I'm going to talk about these little things. I'm not even going to talk about the big things, because if you're not doing the little things in terms of spending time with your spouse, or even something as simple as praying with your spouse, like I said, when the big stuff comes, you ain't got a snowball chance of being able to have victory over those things. And the thing, and lastly, like I said, we won't spend time with our spouses, but we won't even fight back and fight against not spending time with our spouses, and learn how to start to spend time with our spouses in the way that we need to do it, so that, again, our relationships can be strong against, right, all the stuff that's going to come up against it. Because you have to understand and know that there's going to always be a bullseye or a target against marriage. It's going to always be. So if you won't fight back with the little things, you ain't got a snowball chance of with the bigger things. All right. Another thing, what about our gifts or our visions, right? Many of us out there have had a vision, has gifts, has talents, has abilities, has greatness, all of these wonderful things inside of us that helps us to understand that there's something bigger than what we're doing. But what we'll do is that we'll sit in the thing that we're doing, right? Or that we feel like we should be or become, and won't even fight for the vision or the ministry or whatever it is that you have been called to, or they won't even fight against that thing that's trying to stop you from walking in your gift. Won't even fight back against that thing that's trying to stop you from walking in your calling, or what you were meant to be, or what you were meant to do in life. And we do it in the form of, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we always end up doing nothing with our lives. We'll do it in the form of, well, I'm making $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year working for this company. Here's what I want to say to that. If you're working for a company and they're paying you $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, $300,000 a year, you have to know that they're making 100 times more than that. So if you can make them that much, or build their vision to a place where it's that bright, right? And it's making that much of a difference, whatever way it's making a difference, whether it's for the good or the bad. Think about how much you can do it for yours. So you have to learn how to start to fight back. If you have something that, if T.D. Jakes said it like this: lots of us are impregnated or pregnant with extraordinary potential. The thing of the problem is that we won't even birth it. And so again, if that's what's going on inside of you, you have to fight back to birth that thing, to bring that thing forward, and not allow yourself to settle in a place where the American dream or societal norm say that get this career or get this job, get the white picket fence in the house, and work to retirement and take your IRA or retirement and go off into the sunset. Some of our sunsets don't look like that, and we have to fight back so that we can get the ones that's been preordained or predestined for us. Again, like I said, these are simple things that we have to fight against, because if we don't fight against these simple things, we don't have a chance with the bigger ones. Your belief in yourself, that's another thing. Many of us won't even fight back enough to believe in the potential that we have in ourselves. I talked about it in one of my previous podcasts, that we'll sit in mediocrity, we'll sit in settling, we'll sit in low self-esteem and low self-value and low self-worth. We'll sit in what somebody else told us that we are, or we'll sit in what someone else told us that we ain't. And we won't even fight back. And then wonder why there's always a longingness inside of us. Wonder why there's always a void inside of us. Wonder why we always searching and chasing after the wrong things. And it's one of the reasons is because we won't fight back in terms of learning how to believe in ourselves and the abilities and capabilities that we have. Listen, we have to stop letting people tell us we ordinary. Because one of the things that I've learned is many of the people who try to instill in you or in us to live an ordinary, normal person's life, they're not living a normal life, and they're definitely not living an ordinary life. But they'll promote it to you, and you won't even fight back against that. And there's something inside of you that's great, that needs to come out. How do I know? Guilty. I've been guilty. I can never forget about recovery. Because for many years of my life, I was getting beat up. I wanted recovery. I craved recovery. I desired recovery. I went out to recovery and kept getting beat up. And then it got to a place where it was some of those situations, some of those times, I wouldn't fight back. I would not fight back. And what I got, the ways that I got beat up was, and I want y'all to, again, this is something simple. They talk about in recovery how we have to change people, places, and things. And we have to change our thought processes about the people, places, and things as well. So here are some of the ways that I would get beat up. I was starting to have the using thoughts, or going back around the old friend thoughts, or going to the old places, or whatever the case may be. And I wouldn't even fight against it from a standpoint of, no, I can't go there. That's not going to be healthy. That's going to put me in a place, in a position that I don't want to be. And and another way that I wouldn't fight back from a perspective of, well, because you telling me to go there, I'm going to be intentional about going here. That I wouldn't fight back from those perspectives, right? And every time I ended up on the butt end of the situation, meaning that the word relapse was a part of my life. Time and time again. And I would find myself sitting somewhere looking crazy as all get out, because I'm back in the place that I hate the most due to the fact that I wouldn't fight back. And I'm asking God, how did I get here again? How did I get here again? You know I hate this place. You know I hate this position. You know I hate everything about this because everything about this is 100% contrary, right? And here's the part that was really terrible about it for me. I knew in many of those situations, I knew who God says that I am. I knew the calling that God had on my life. I knew the vision that God had for me. Many of you out there is in that same place, in that same position. And so what made it so terrible for me is because I knew all of these things, yet I wouldn't fight back, kept getting beat up, and finding myself in the places that I hated the most. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about out there. We got to learn how to start to fight back. We have gotten to a place in time that many of us, we just laying down. We've gotten to a place of time where many of us are just laying down and taking these blows and punches and kicks and scratches and pulling our head. Many of us just laying down. And we got to stop asking God to fight some of these battles that he has equipped. He's equipped us to fight and win. And win, because he already got the victory. So if he already got the victory and told me that, and I'm with him and I'm in him, then I have the victory as well. Right? You have the victory as well. So we have to learn, not only that we have to learn how to start fighting back, one of the ways that we can fight back, y'all, is fight together and fight from the seat of victory, not for the seat of victory. And we got to start to fight the little things. Because again, if we learn how to fight these little things, if I can trust you with a few things, I'll make you rulers over many. This is what God says. So if he can trust us to win these little battles, then we'll be equipped and strengthened for when the big battles come, and we won't find ourselves crying over the same thing that we get. And that's another thing. It's never nothing or something new that we get beat up over. We'll usually get beat up over the same thing. Over the same thing. There's no temptation that has come upon you except that which is common to man. There's nothing new under the sun, both scriptural. So it's the devil don't need to come at us with something new when he already know that the same stuff that he been beating us up over for many years, he can do it again. So we have to fight together, right? And fight from a victory standpoint, knowing that the battle is already won. And if God has allowed me to be in this fight, he didn't allow me to be in this fight to lose. He allowed me to be in this fight because he knows that I'm a winner. He knows that you're a winner too. So, people, like I said, when we were younger, if we were together and somebody was picking on you and you fought back and they were beating you, we gonna help you win. That's what we need to start doing again. If somebody is picking on you and they're beating you and you're fighting back, come get us. Let us get one another so we can win these battles and these fights and continue to move forward, onward, and upward in the things that God has called us to, whether it's our relationship with him, our relationship with our spouses, our kids, friends, family members, employers, jobs, careers, ministries, ourselves, our recovery, our healing, our hope. Listen, come on, people. We need to do this because, again, God has given us everything we need to win. And that's all. I can't make it no more plain than that. So please, people, stop fighting back. Get up off your butt and fight back. And again, if you're getting beat up, always know that there's somebody that's going to help you win 100%. Thank y'all so much. I love every last one of y'all, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. This is Paul. God has equipped me and qualified me to be your hip hop relationship and recovery coach. Be well, y'all. Do the next right thing. God bless you all. And like I always say, if you're looking for a butt, it's going to always be easy to find one. Until next time, y'all do what you need to do to win these fights. Deuces.